Let's move on to more time.
Sorry.
We'll just keep the camera on Ben now from now on. Who cares? JP Morgan sends its private clients a primer on crypto. The report, which was produced in February and obtained by CoinDesk on Friday, has been distributed to clients of JP Morgan's private bank, which requires a minimum balance of $10 million to open an account. And the idea here is just a general one. What has changed about Bitcoin in the last 5 years that JP Morgan would have such a radical shift of saying Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme and it's tulips and it has no value and it's going to zero and you should avoid it like the plague, to suddenly recommending it not just to their clients but to their private clients worth 10 million or more? Let's go to Ben R. Go ahead, Ben.
It's think about COVID. We've spent the past year, we're all indoors, we're all spending more and more time on the internet, living a sort of digital version of ourselves. There's been a huge bootstrap for a lot of industries, and I think, like we've seen with all the NFT stuff and all this interest suddenly in Bitcoin, and from people who want to use it for store value properties, such as these big money people. We've been catapulted maybe 5 years into the future when it comes to Bitcoin. Had COVID not happened, we wouldn't be where we are now, and that's the same with a lot of other industries, such as video conferencing, for example. So yeah, Bitcoin's more relevant than ever, and people are starting to understand the importance of having scarcity in a digital material world or a digital world. Yeah, that's just off the back of that. And then for JP Morgan's customers, I think these people have got they got to have $10 million in order to be clients. And I'm breathing it in. It's like vaping. Whoa, I've spoken enough. Just go to someone else. That's the cue.
All right, let's go to Juan S. Galt. Juan, are you still with us?
Yes.
What about JP Morgan and large companies suddenly acknowledging Bitcoin?
Well, you can't deny the Michael Saylor effect. Whether it was coming without him or with him, he certainly has become a corporate cheerleader of Bitcoin, and indeed is having an observable impact, right? Getting Elon Musk in and so on. So that's gotta, as a bank, as an investment bank, you kind of have to look at that and realize that you don't want to be the one that missed the boat. The other thing is that the liquidity and the market depth has probably increased to the point where they can actually start to put in a few percentage points, right? And like these major hedge funds and all these big clients could actually start getting in. Because before they would just move the market far too much, right? Imagine if Elon Musk put that 1.5 billion into Dogecoin. I mean, it would be a very short ride to the moon and back down. So I think that's part of it. And the same thing with this sort of $1 trillion market cap with Bitcoin, that is going to be resistance, but once it becomes a floor, it's going to be a huge mark of credibility to Bitcoin as a serious sort of player globally. That added to the fact that the proof of work energy consumes is bigger than many countries now, which they'll use it as criticism, but in reality, it's actually a measure of its strength and resilience, right? So, it gives confidence to Bitcoin, and now they can't ignore it anymore.
Dan Eve, $1 trillion for Dogecoin?
Well, I personally think that JP Morgan, they're running by the classic rule, isn't it? It's fill before shill. They're not going to start harping on about it until their bags are ready. And, back when, was it, I can't remember, it was 2017, 2018, when there was the whole thing of Jamie Dimon that he was slagging off Bitcoin, and then suddenly, like out of nowhere, like JP Morgan Sweden buys 9,000 contracts or something. Yeah, there's lots of kind of things like that have been going on the whole time. And at the end of the day, I think we said the other week, imagine they're all the big head honchos, just like you've got the pump groups. Now you've probably got like Elon and Saylor sat in a Telegram group going, yeah, should we pump like Cardano today, mate? Or well, not Cardano, but you know what I mean? They're probably all still doing it. Let's face it, in the higher echelons. That's why the 10 million plus customers are getting the inside info first, but obviously not before JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, the Diamond Geezer, has filled their bags.
Josh Shigala, do you need an illustrated primer from JP Morgan to tell you about Bitcoin?
Absolutely. No, JP Morgan Chase is a criminal institution. They've been destroying the price of silver and gold for a long time with the naked shorts. They knew they could get away with the whole fill and shill concept because they couldn't in the regulated markets. And this is the game that Elon's playing as well by having fun with his tweets and moving the market. But yeah, I mean, JPM, all these major banks, of course, they'll offer their clients are demanding that they get with the times. They're going to look like antiquated fools if they don't offer their clients some sort of exposure to this amazing ecosystem. Yeah, it was just a matter of time. And of course, Dimon, it's just ridiculously sick what he did to Bitcoin. And people, yeah, really, they need to pay. People need to just boycott that institution and not play with them. Don't let them in the garden.
Martine, has anything changed in Bitcoin? And to agree with Josh, how many people did they turn off by being so overreactive and so afraid of this now suddenly a new asset class that they had to call it tulips and insult it over and over again?
Well, JP Morgan is one of the largest private banks globally. They serve high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals with usually, their minimum is $10 million. Ultra high net worth group of people, according to Capgemini, have at least $30 million. And of those ultra high net worth individuals, most of them have allocated at least 1% of their holdings into Bitcoin. So the fact that now, years after first bashing Bitcoin, they are now all of a sudden releasing flyers, not really a surprise to me, but I assume that most of their ultra high net worth clients already have 1% of Bitcoin. So I think it's more that their clients are forcing them to join the party, and maybe they filled up their own bags with some Bitcoin. But it's if they want to remain relevant to their clients, then they have to say something good about Bitcoin because their clients already have Bitcoin. That is what I think is happening.
Exit question. The banks are now recommending Bitcoin. Has hell frozen over? Ben Ark, what else could happen that would convince you that Bitcoin has finally made it?
Countries adopting it, I suppose. But it's worth remembering, as all these people who we criticize and we were happy not to be in Bitcoin before are now starting to get into Bitcoin and pour all that liquidity into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the Trojan horse. So it's there to sneak behind enemy lines and, suck in liquidity. And the more liquidity it sucks in, the more power it takes away from sort of state capitalist neoliberal types, which is good because we don't want them to be in control of the money supply.
Juan S. Galt.
I have to say, I love this contraption you've created. If I wasn't here, I'd be hitting the slap button over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's incredible. I think we haven't really seen what the next level is. I guess it's going to be family offices. It's probably going to be governments adding Bitcoin to their treasury. I think we could see, after they print another wad of fiat currency over in Europe, I could see them adding Bitcoin to the reserve. If they launch another sort of globalist fiat currency, having Bitcoin in that reserve. I'd like to see Bitcoin test gold's market cap of something like $11 trillion, $10 trillion. I'd like to see it test that. I'd like to see it beat that. That would be a whole other level of adoption, right? That's what I'm aiming for. That's what I'm hoping we really get to, and that's $500,000 Bitcoin if we reach $10 trillion market cap. So other than that, I mean, we're already seeing signs. So we already entered it's getting ridiculous stage of the market, right, with this NFT selling for 69 million. But I think we still got some more to go.
Dan Eve, will it replace gold and silver in pawn shops? Who adopts Bitcoin next? Gold, silver, Bitcoin?
Well, I think based on the fact that the most FUD at the moment really is the environmental thing. Let's face it now. It's all about the environment. It's like the baking the noodles or whatever, the noodles of the earth. So I think final boss is Greta Thunberg. I reckon if Greta's like, I got a bag, then that's it. The world's convinced that then Bitcoin's okay, because even she's overcome the bad green side. But one thing I did think was quite cool about the JP Morgan report was that, I mean, it didn't just go in there lightly. It did say, like, here's a few ways of market participants valuing Bitcoin. They're like, well, using the Metcalfe's law, 21,000 number based on the number of users. Then they went on to the gold valuation, as one said, and it's 540,000. Then they were like, the whole money supply, well, the whole narrow money supply, 1.9 million. So they didn't just like go in there and say, you should start thinking about maybe, they kind of, I think that was a real teaser that, saying Bitcoin could go to 1.9 million. I mean, that's it's a lot past what I'd known. It's like 38 times what it is now or something. I don't know. The maths doesn't add up, but yeah, I don't know. I think Greta, final boss, have a bag.